Hello and welcome to Parently, where we tap into the unique experiences and perspectives of parents to celebrate the joys and honor the challenges of child rearing. With new interviews each week, this is a podcast for moms and dads seeking an empowering community and a little levity. Now here's your host, Kelsey Higgins.
Hello and welcome to Parently. Today's guest is Rhonda Hagel. Rhonda, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Kelsey. Thanks for having me.
Are you excited?
I'm excited and nervous, all the things.
Oh, yes. So am I. This is going to be an awesome episode, and it's going to come out, the day after Christmas.
Oh, fun.
And look at how holiday-esque we're looking with the red, the white, the green. We're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, before we jump into some specific topics, because there's certain things I'm very excited to talk to you about, why don't we start with a little overview of Rhonda?
Sounds great. Well, I live in Robbinsdale, and I am married to Nate, and we've been married for almost 11 years now.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Quite a while. And we have a wonderful little guy, Emerson, who's 4. I have worked in the hospitality industry for 21 years.
Wild.
And yes, very wild. I don't know where the time goes. So I am a hotel general manager.
What does a day-to-day look like as a hotel general manager?
What a great question, Kelsey.
You're like, I don't know what's going to
so
happen.
Much. Yes, it's all over. You know, I'm managing an entire team. I'm focused on sales and marketing. I'm focused on operations.
It's a lot.
It's
everything.
It's a wide spectrum. Yes, every day.
Have you always been career focused?
I have, yes. I knew from an early age that I wanted to have a big career.
You dreamed of being in the hospitality hotel manager?
Not necessarily that, but I knew my mom was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
When I was young. And then, you know, she went back to work once my sister and I were in school, but I definitely knew I wanted more of a career versus, you know, jumping into a job here and there, like I saw with my parents a little bit more. So yeah,
that's interesting.
Focus.
Did you what other kind of things did you glean from having a stay-at-home mom? Like, I have to imagine there was a lot of benefits.
So many benefits. I desperately wish that I could give that to Emerson. So I think it was a very, very special time. But you know, just knowing that I was at home and taken care of, and I guess I didn't know any different.
Right.
So it wasn't until, you know, having Emerson and then going through the whole daycare situation and you know, navigating the emotions of that, of having to take your child to daycare every day for long hours. You know, it made me think back to how great it was to have that time with my mom.
It's so interesting how perspective changes, like, as your personal experiences change.
For sure.
Okay, Rhonda, I know that you didn't always necessarily want to have kids.
You are correct. Yes.
Talk to me about that a little bit. When did you start thinking about that? Why?
Yeah. So I have gone through a journey with mental health. In my early 20s, a lot came up. I was dealing with a childhood trauma that, you know, the remembrance came back from that, and then just dealing with that.
Oh, so that was suppressed until your 20s.
Yes,
wow.
Okay. So navigating that, learning how to handle those emotions, understanding all of the coping mechanisms that I used over the years to deal with it. So mental health was definitely up and down for a long time. In 2014, I decided I needed some professional help, and so I got the professional help. I did an outpatient treatment, which was wonderful. It was everything I needed, and gave me a lot of tools to be able to deal with it. At that time, I got into meditation, and so that became really huge in my life. And, you know, Nate and I, a few years later, got married, and we just didn't know with my mental health. It was up and down, and hard to know how I would handle being a mother. Part of me really wanted it, but part of me was just very afraid. So I remember having conversations with my close girlfriends about, do I want to do it? Why do I have the fear? What's holding me back? And I do remember my good friend Amanda said, what if it makes you everything you want to be? What if it opens you up? And
that's gonna make me emotional. That's sweet.
Yeah, that stuck with me.
Yeah.
And it was it's something that was always in the back of my head. So then, fast forward to 2020.
The year everyone remembers.
The last year. Yeah. So early 2020. So my meditation was here and there. I would be into it and then I'd fall off, and
It requires a lot of discipline.
it really does. Yes. And so mental health was definitely up and down from that. So it was either late 2019 or early 2020. I got learned about Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Oh, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, he's just really brings the scientific and the mystic together.
Ooh,
and
okay.
just really bringing that meditation, just more layers to the meditation piece.
Okay.
And it just really resonated with me. And so I just really developed a really steady practice at that time, which was great knowing what was coming up with the pandemic, just a few months away. And then also early into the pandemic, Nate went into just out of the blue cardiac arrest while he was at work. And so that was a really, really difficult time to navigate.
Totally out of the blue.
Totally out of the
Otherwise,
blue.
completely healthy person.
Yes.
No signs.
No signs. And, after the fact, we found out it was just one of those electrical, issues that it was out of the blue.
It's so
he was
wild.
fine after the fact, and still is. And actually, his cardiologist said he's healthier than he was before. So it's amazing.
How does that work? So that I want to spend a minute on that, because I remember that. I mean, that was very touch and go. Like, that was a very scary time, and you weren't sure your husband was going to make it.
Yes, it was. It was extra tricky because it was the pandemic. It was early in the pandemic, and you couldn't be in the hospital. So I was at home.
I can't imagine with your husband in the hospital.
I was at home trying to speak to doctors and nurses and catch them and get all the information I needed, and not being there to see him or be with him. It was horrendous. It was horrendous. But I think really finding Dr. Joe Dispenza and that meditation, like all of that played into preparing me for what had happened. I really went inward. I was at home. I had a lot of people coming, and everyone was so wonderful, but I was definitely at home by myself. And so just really poured into my meditation, and I just did soul to soul stuff with Nate, knowing he was there, and I talked to him, and I just got myself through it. And I do feel like, that played a role in him having a recovery. He was in ICU for 3 or 4 days. He was in an induced coma. And then he came out of that coma, and it was a little touch and go, but I was able to speak to him on the phone, and he spent a few more days in the hospital and was able to come home. It was amazing, and it was a long recovery for him, but just a fluke, crazy thing that...
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
But that definitely made us stop and think, what do we really want in life?
It's
What's the most
amazing.
important?
Again, the perspective, right? Your experiences shape your perspective and how you were moving through life.
Absolutely.
So what did you two decide?
Well, I definitely, while he was in the hospital and I'm going through my own introspective journey, I just felt like I've lost my opportunity to become a mother. What if I've lost that? I was 39 at the time. So,
And it had always been an option in your mind, but suddenly you were thinking, oh, this might not be an option anymore.
Yeah, it's off the table, or it could be off the table. And, soon when Nate came home, we had some very deep conversations as soon as he was up for it, and he felt the same way. He had all the same feelings, and we both were like, we would have the most amazing child. Like, we should just do this. And a couple months later,
Bing, bang, boom, huh?
I was pregnant.
Crazy how that works.
It was crazy.
Oh.
Yes.
And talk a little bit about Emerson and kind of what life with Emerson is like. Do you ever call him MJ anymore, or is it Emerson?
MJ. He prefers Emerson,
Okay,
so we kind of
Emerson.
steer towards Emerson.
Okay.
Yeah. It's magical. He's just a ball of kindness and joy and love, and we couldn't imagine not having him at this point. But he is, he's just such a wonderful soul, and I'm so glad he chose me to be his mom and come into our lives. But yeah, every day's fun. I mean, he's a 4-year-old, so it's up and down, lots of high emotions, high energy.
Oh, sure.
All the
Yeah, you
things
bet.
that come along with being 4. But, when I was pregnant with Emerson, I was laid off, which was another just blessing that it was, early into the pandemic. I didn't think I wanted to be at a hotel with a bunch of people, and it just all happened really well. In hindsight, I had a very big, I was almost a little depressed about it for being laid off because it was my identity, and I worked really hard to open this new hotel, and it was very exciting. So it felt like, kind of felt like a death a little bit. But then, I took the perspective of I get to be home and be healthy and safe and, cook this baby. And and then I got to be home with him for 8.5 months, which I would have never been able to do if I were working. So that was huge, and just a really great time to have that extra connection with him, and
Totally.
so wonderful.
That's awesome. Okay, I want to step back and look at your journey and your perspective a little bit through Nate's perspective, because you talked a lot about your mental health journey, and you guys weren't sure. How did Nate come into the marriage in terms of children? How did he feel during kind of the mental health pieces? Like, was he letting you kind of drive the decision, or like, how did that work?
Yeah. So I think when Nate and I met, we were, we had
young and fun.
We had a young, fun life. We were living good. So, I think at that point we both were just having fun, and we really weren't thinking about wanting to have children. And then, through the mental health journey, he definitely had concerns of, not wanting to be like the only parent if I couldn't, you know, meet the occasion, which is totally fair. And that was a concern of mine as well. So, you know, that was, I think that was a little difficult for him because all of a sudden all of our friends are starting to have children and we kind of see this other side of what life can be. And we both kind of, you know, we're like, oh, that's interesting. That would be fun, but I don't know if we can handle that. And so we were definitely both on the same page navigating that. I think it was, you know, that was a hard thing for him. I think you get to a certain point, you know, in your late 30s and you're like, okay, well, you can only go out and do so much stuff like you did in your 20s and early 30s.
Get tired.
Yeah, you're tired. You just want to go to sleep.
You want to be a homebody.
Have like a nice dinner.
You have your own place, so it's nice to be home.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
So, I think that was a little difficult for him to navigate too. But at the same token, you know, we were definitely on the same page about it the whole time. And so it was really great when, you know, he was recovering and we were then on the same page again of how we felt.
Yeah, it's interesting. It sounds like you kind of mirrored each other throughout the whole journey. Yeah. What is he like as a father? Like, have your and his relationship changed through becoming parents?
Absolutely, yes.
Good and bad.
Good and bad, yes. He's an amazing father. He's there for every step of the way. He does all the things with me. And so I'm, you know, as a mother, I'm very grateful for that. And my job's very demanding, so he will pick up the extra load when needed. So that's always like so appreciative on my part. He's just kind and he connects. He's caring. You know, he does all the fun dad stuff, and Emerson and Nate love to wrestle and get silly and crazy.
That's so funny. I actually read an article recently, and I'm going to totally screw it up. I don't remember all the specifics of it, but there's like some biological reason why dads and kids wrestle to form connection. And do you know what I'm talking about?
I've heard about this as well.
And I don't remember what the reason is, but there's like a biological reason why like wrestling and physical play is how they connect.
And it's something about like the way their brains wire.
Yeah,
in the children. But it's good for boys and girls.
Yes.
Which is interesting.
And then mom's was, you know, nurturing and comfort or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that your role, do you think,
Absolutely.
in the relationship?
Yes, definitely the comfort, the nurturer, the safe place.
Yep. What's been difficult about becoming a parent? Or not?
Well, you know, I think the difficult part is, you know, I feel like I've been just like reparenting myself through all of this.
Okay, that's interesting. Talk about what that means and what that looks like.
Yeah, I think just kind of going back to my childhood and, you know, energies and how things were when I was a child and how I was raised, and looking at how I want to raise Emerson. But, you know, a lot of our psychological tendencies are formed in those early years. So it's really about, you know, figuring out how to change that, you know, my reactions to certain things and, you know, stopping and understanding my emotions and my patterns and working through that so I can be a better parent for Emerson and also maybe heal some of the things that, you know, I learned early on, part of the coping mechanisms from my early childhood trauma. So yeah, I feel like it's really understanding my emotions and how they come out and working on that. So
Okay, agree or disagree? I have a theory. Our generation is a lot more consciously thoughtful about parenting and what they're trying to accomplish and how they're trying to do it and how they want that to look than previous generations.
Agreed.
Okay,
100%.
why do you think that is?
So I actually just heard someone talk about this and how our grandparents, we're in the Great Depression or the World War I and II era, right?
Okay,
So
yep.
they have all that trauma in their body. And then our parents, kind of got the energies of that. And so kind of some of those coping mechanisms in their upbringings and then pass them on to us. However, we're that third generation where we're we're ready to shed that. We're not as close to it as the grandparents were and our parents. So we're a little bit further removed. We can feel a little bit more. And I think I think also our technology age here, like we have so much information.
Yeah, that's true.
And we just know so much more than our parents did. So we have that opportunity.
More resources.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually,
Absolutely.
that makes sense. I want to talk a little bit about meditation because I think it's very interesting. If there was somebody listening who's interested in meditation, but like it feels overwhelming, they don't know where to start, what would you recommend?
Sure. So,
And what does meditation look like for you? Because I know it looks different for everyone.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's so many resources, and there's like so many apps and, just different ways you can meditate. Some people like to meditate just in silence. Some people like to have a guided meditation. Some people, maybe do breathing exercises. So it can look different for everyone. And, for me, it was just trying a lot of different things. I found early on that I can connect up really easily. And so that, once that opened up for me, I was like, whoa, that's exciting. And it feels good just to kind of be in the void. Just having that clear space. You're not in your body. You're not in your mind. You're just in the void. And you're just it just resets you. And so for me, meditation is typically guided.
Okay.
I listen to a large range of different guided meditations. It's just depending on how I feel. I use YouTube a lot. I don't even pay for any app or anything like that.
Okay. Are you ever, sorry to interrupt you, in the middle of a meditation and then an ad on YouTube comes on and it throws you out?
Yeah, that has certainly happened. Yes.
You're like getting somewhere, you're like, oh, what?
You're like, wait a minute.
I don't want to go to Geico.
So yeah, you can certainly like search for no ads,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's a thing.
Okay.
It's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But
What about
certainly
like
happens.
time of day, like where, what are the logistics?
Great question. So I really do try to have a morning meditation and a morning practice. Now, that's not always realistic.
I mean, you're a mom.
I'm a mom, and, my work schedule can be all over the place as well. So, I'll fit it in where I can.
Okay.
And recently, I've just been really learning to, take moments. This year has been really big for me in resetting my nervous system and calming my nervous system. And so just taking a moment to put my hand on my heart and my stomach and take a breath, check in with my emotions, how am I doing, where am I at? And those little moments can be meditations too.
Does Emerson know about meditation? Like, do you talk to him about it? Does he I'm just curious, like, because you're so into it, if it's a part of your kid's life.
Yeah, that's a great question. Recently, I've been thinking that too. Like, I feel like I just have my own little practice and I do my little
Yeah,
thing.
which is cool too.
Yeah. But that is one piece of me that I'm working on this year, is like speaking about myself and where I'm at, and even just with Nate, because I don't when it comes to this kind of stuff.
And then you come on a podcast. I would say you're
Here I
doing
am.
pretty good. You're kind of getting out there.
This is me working on my vulnerability.
Yeah, that's
Certainly.
huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So yeah, I've been recently talking to Emerson about it, and I want to figure out how to give him this information too, because it's good for him. We do a lot of deep breathing as he does at his daycare, and just learning to recognize your emotions that are coming up and being able to name them. But yeah, I think in the coming years, I definitely want to have him understand how he can reset himself if he needs to, and take that time. And I think all children really need this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do too. What caused your pause in the past to talking about your practice and your mental health, and what has prevented you from doing that in the past, even with Nate?
Oh gosh. Well, I think it's just maybe who I am, and how I was raised as well, and just like keeping everything inside. And I think it's part of that trauma response too, of like the coping mechanisms of just stuff it down, don't talk about it, it's not, so I think that's more where it stems from. And I recently had an astrology reading.
Cool. Tell me about
really
that.
Cool. So everything in my chart is like, oh my gosh, yes, that's me. That's me to a T. So my chart is very much dealing with relationships of myself and other relationships, and how to navigate that. I'm very much an empath, and so I think that's part of part of my mental health journey is just taking on the energies of everyone else, and not being able to know how to handle that, how to clear that. So I'm working with my own energies. So that was all very eye-opening, but also just very like, yes, this all makes so much sense.
That's really so cool. I have a friend who is very into astrology, and she recently is kind of working on launching a business where she does astrology mapping for families.
Oh.
So she did one for me to like get feedback, but it's how it takes Andy and myself and our kids, and maps all based off of like the astrology, like how I interact with Andy versus how I interact with Charlie versus how Charlie and Augie interact, and like why, and kind of explains why everyone is the way they are. And I thought it was super interesting.
That's amazing. I'm going to definitely need this information.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Okay.
So cool.
I've been trying to get her on my podcast, and she's like a little nervous yet. So I'll keep trying. But wouldn't that be interesting to hear about?
So interesting. And actually, after the reading, I was like, I want to know Nate's chart. I want to know Emerson's chart, and how this can all play together. So
Okay, well, I'll get you in touch with her.
Yeah.
Good.
So cool.
Good. Okay, we're wrapping up here.
Okay.
Getting close to the end. A couple more questions I want to ask you.
Okay.
The first, what is your favorite part about being a mom?
My favorite part, just the joy and the love that comes from this little guy. Just the way he's opened up my heart that I didn't even know I could open up to.
That's sweet. It is amazing. Like you hear people say it, and it just doesn't make sense until you're a parent.
For sure. Yes.
But when they talk about, my heart's walking around outside my body, or like, I just didn't know I had this capacity to love somebody like this. It's just, it's different. I mean, certainly you love your spouse, but it's like, it's a completely different, crazy kind of love. I love that. Okay. My last question for you. Emerson's 4. I want you to tell me, what is your goal? If you look 20 years down the road, he's 24 years old. What kind of a person do you hope that he is? What kind of skills or attributes do you hope that he has obtained from his parents?
Wow.
24-year-old. Can't you imagine him?
Oh my gosh. Yes. We're going to be hanging out. We're going
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
We're having fun.
You guys are going to be going to shows.
We are. We're
Yeah.
going to be seeing live music all over the place. Well, for me, it's very important that he cultivates like inner awareness and he has like a good center. He trusts himself. That was a huge thing for me. I didn't trust myself. I didn't know who I was. And so for me, making sure that he has the tools to know who he is, and, maybe he learns a meditation practice and has, he has good patterns in his life, to have that foundation to set him up for success for whatever he wants to do or wherever he wants to go.
No, I love that. Great answer. Well, thanks for joining.
Thank
You've been
you so
awesome.
much.
And to all of the listeners, thank you for joining as well. I invite you to tune in again next week for another insightful conversation. And if you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. See you next time.